After a global pandemic and energy crisis, we have taken difficult decisions to put our economy back on track.
So the Chancellor has just sat down after doing the autumn statements, and people are not happy. Today we're going to be looking into the hottest topic right now, which is the autumn statements and what that means for you and for me. And we are going to answer the biggest questions everyone is talking about. Was it a tax giveaway, or was it the beginning of 2024 recession? Let's get straight into the video and let's discuss it. So to begin with, we have to understand what the autumn statement is. Every autumn, the Chancellor delivers this crucial message to the economy. So the autumn statement outlines tax cuts, government forecasts, and government spending. The current Chancellor of the Uk Chancellor is Jeremy Hunt. This year, Jeremy's statement was highly anticipated because there were so many struggles with the economy that we don't really know what he was going to say. And people were preemptively predicting a 2024 recession. There are a couple points that are going viral right now that I want to cover. One of them is taxes and wages. You definitely need to know the changes to the taxes and the wages. It feels illegal, me knowing this and you not knowing it. So if you didn't know already, we pay national insurance. That is basically taxes on our profits, on our salary. If you're an employee earning more than £242 per week from one job, or you're self-employed and you're making a profit of more than £12,570, you have to pay national insurance. So the massive change that's been made is that the national insurance is going to go from 12% down to 10%. That is what we call a tax reduction, and this is going to benefit you and me. This ultimately means we're paying less tax on our profit. Huge success for small businesses and people that do agency work. That's me. I hate paying taxes right now, especially national insurance. So the second massive change is the minimum wage. Before, the minimum wage was £10.42, now it's £11.44. That is a 9.8 increase to the minimum wage. And what is really good is it actually encourages people that are younger to work, because the minimum wage before was over 23 and above. Now it includes 21-year-olds. So you can get paid £11.44 from the age of 21, which is amazing. So the next big changes that we have to the system was the benefits and the pensions. The chances are, if you work in like the NHS, you're definitely putting money towards a pension. At 65, you don't want to be working, so you basically have the government come in and they basically pay for the rest of your life. From an early age, you put money aside and that goes towards that. The very first change that I seen was the changes to the state pension. So this is how much the government is paying our pensioners. It's costing the government over 105 billion to pay the pensioners. So the government are actually trying to make an effort, and they're going to increase the state pension by 8.5%. If you think about it, that's like a 10% increase, which is great, because when you put your money into the S&P 500, that is like a 10% return that you get every year. So to get a 10% increase in pensions is something that we should actually praise from the government. What does that actually mean? So that just basically means your grandparents are probably making around £221 per week. Personally, I say it could be higher, but this is a great starting point. You might not think this applies to you, but this applies to a lot of people that are actually watching this video. This is universal credit. I actually made a TikTok on this, if you want to follow my TikTok down below. The universal credit increased by 6.7%. The government have dedicated 1.3 billion to helping people get jobs, which is so crazy, because think about how many people you know that finish university and graduate and they don't have jobs. So the government's actually going to put 1.3 billion towards you. And this is to encourage people to find jobs within the next 5 years. And the second point I think a lot of people will be happy with is that people that are deemed worthy, so if you actually can work and you're choosing not to and you're trying to get benefits, your benefits will be revoked. That is amazing. For example, the benefits of getting like free NHS prescriptions, that will be revoked if the government thinks you can work and they deem you liable to work and you're just not working. That is really good, because that saves up resources for people that actually can't actually work. Guys, I don't have to be a rocket scientist to tell you that the living standards have changed over the UK. Things are way more expensive nowadays, and what the government's trying to do is drop the expenses back to a decent point. Another thing that we can expect is slashes to the interest rate, and right now the target is around 2%. Do I think we're going to get it? I really don't know. The borrowing forecast for the next 4 years is that the government wants to get it from 4.4% or 4% down to 1% in the next 4 years. If we can do that, that would be amazing. That just means there's more liquidity in the market, and that's a good thing for people that are traders. It's good for the hedge funds, that's good for the banks, that's good for people in general. So I did read the changes to the businesses, and these are the significant ones that I found. One is that the government plans to put 500 million into AI tech companies. So if you want to get a job in AI in the future, then that makes sense. And here's a tip as well. If the government's spending 500 million into AI companies in the next 4 years, that means you can put some stocks and shares in some AI companies. One thing that we did see is if you're in a house that has like new infrastructure, you can get up to £1,000 off your energy bills. People believe that this autumn statement is a strategy used to reinvest into the economy, while others think they're not doing enough for the important issues. Reading the paper, I will say that they failed to mention about the NHS. They did fail to mention about lifetime ISAs. Well, they did mention a little bit, but I think they could have done a lot more in terms of lifetime ISAs, because that's what helps a lot of young people. There are people that are really positive about the autumn statement.
Tell people what you think they should be pleased with.
Well, I think there's two things to see. One is it's quite clear the government is really doubling down on that plan for business investment and growth. And that's about driving up productivity in the economy, which in the long term is the only way that we can deliver higher wages.
And there are people that are very negative about the autumn statement.
Decade. It's a huge rise. We are talking about £4,300 per household.
Personally, I believe there is some work to be done, but there is some good steps that we are taking into the right direction. So that's it for today's video. Like and subscribe for everything finance. And please do share this, because that's how the algorithm pushes my video to other people. I will see you in the next video.